This lesson is on estimation with decimals. There are two ways to estimate sums and differences with decimals. The first one is rounding, and the second is compatible numbers. First, let's estimate some decimal sums. Decimal sums are when we're adding decimals. We're going to actually use rounding for this, and this is very similar to rounding whole numbers. The first thing you're going to do is identify the place value you're rounding. In this case, most of the time, we're not going to be rounding with decimals. We're going to drop the decimals off because remember, a decimal is a small number. The second step is to round the add-ins. Third step is to drop the decimal and any trailing zeros unless adding money amounts. And the fourth step is to add the rounded numbers. You may want to stop and put those 4 steps into your notes so you have them to refer to. Then start the video again and we'll estimate the sum of this problem. So here we're going to estimate 2 75/100ths plus 3 7/100ths. Going back to our rounding of decimals, I know that I can round to the nearest whole number because that's what the directions did say. 7 tells me to round the 2 up to a 3. Notice I don't have any decimals because that's the smallest part of the number, and we're rounding to the whole place value. And the second add-in, the 0, tells me to keep the 3 the same. So I have also another 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. If I were to do the actual problem of 2 75/100ths plus 3 7/100ths, I should get close to 6. Most of the time you're wanting to get rid of the decimals because they're so small. They don't actually make a big difference. However, if they are only decimals, then you have to think a little differently. This year we're going to do a lot with whole numbers and bigger place values. So let's look here. In the first example, 54 17/100ths minus 23 67/100ths. I see that I can round to the same place value and I can round to tens because they both have tens. So I look back and the 4 tells me to keep it the same. So I'm going to make that just 50. Notice there are no decimals. Here I'm going to look in the second part and the 3 tells me to keep the 2 the same. So since it's in the tens place, I do have to add that placeholder of a 0. And 50 minus 20 is 30. Now what do you think we should round the next example to? If you said hundreds place, you are correct. So we're going to look back here on the first one, and a 2 tells us to keep it the same, so 100 plus, and the 3 tells us to keep the 4 the same, 400 equals 500. Now remember, estimation is done mentally, it's done in your head quickly. If we wanted a better estimate, we could have rounded to the tens place and gotten a better estimate, but 500 is good for now. So the second way to look at numbers is compatible numbers. They are numbers added or subtracted easily in your head, mentally. They are computed the same way that we did whole numbers with compatible numbers. So here I have 2 problems, and in the first one, I'm looking for numbers that I know can add easily in my head. I see that I have an 8/10 and a 2/10. What's 8/10 plus 2/10? Did you recognize that that's one whole? So if I have one whole here and 2, that makes it 3. And I know that 8 3/10 plus 3 is 11 3/10. By finding numbers that I can do in my head mentally, it makes it much quicker and easier. What do you see that goes together in the bottom one? Here I have a 1/10 and a 9/10. And again, that does make one whole. So if I add the whole to the 6, I have a 7 there. And I've already used the 1/10, so I'm going to just leave it as 9 plus 2 5/10 plus 7. Now I like to add the big numbers first. 9 plus 7 is 16, plus 2 is 18, and add that 5/10 on. Very good. So for your independent practice, I would like you to do these 4 problems. Go ahead and number them 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can use compatible numbers or rounding. You're going to have to be able to explain which ones you use though and why you chose that. Again, an estimate can be a different number than your neighbor because you're estimating differently. One of you could have rounded, one of you could have done compatible numbers. So we will talk about these when you come back to class. If you have any questions, please ask or write them down. Thank you.